it has been a few weeks since the last time I tried to work on the Nova. I don't know if I still have the clip or not of it. I believe I do. The last time I was trying to work on this, I ended up having to get stitches in my thumb. I have a scar from it. I don't know how well you guys can see, but that right there is a scar from when I had to get stitches. I dropped the transmission on my thumb, and the transmission pan went into my thumb right on the joint. Had to go get about, I think it was like 3 stitches. But anyways, not a big deal, not the end of the world. We are back and at it again. I have a bunch of parts on the way, a bunch of parts here. You guys have seen me talk about the cylinder heads, the intake manifold. I have ARP bolts. They are here. They're actually out in the Camaro. But they sent out, actually, let me go grab them and show you guys what they sent out. All right, we have ARP part number 1342501. I'll have the link to these down below. But we have a balancer bolt here. The factory balancer is pressed on from the factory. And before, I was going for higher RPMs on this build before, but we're really taking it serious this time with the aluminum heads, better intake manifold, rocker arms, everything. So we're really shooting for that high RPM, and I don't want to worry in the back of my mind about that balancer coming flying underneath the hood, taking out Lord only knows what. So ARP hooked us up. We're going to have the machine shop drill and tap for this bolt, so that way we don't have to worry about it flying off and being a danger to myself or others. We have part number 1346001. These are rod bolts. That way I don't have to worry about those coming loose at all. You know, from the factory, they're probably fine, but extra security, ARP makes such a fantastic bolt that while you're in there, it just makes sense to go ahead and get those in there, especially since these are still the factory ones. So better safe than sorry. The next thing is probably going to be the best upgrade out of all this, other than just the balancer bolt. We have 134-5002. This one has plastic in front of it, so I can't really show you the part number. But this is the main bolts. The factory is 2-bolt main. Every 327 is, but the small journal 327s have a forged steel, I believe, a forged steel crankshaft, which is really awesome, really cool. But it's forged steel, but it's 2-bolt main. And I've heard some rumors online that if you mix that forged crankshaft with ARP bolts, it is actually stronger than a 4-bolt main 350. But I can't promise that. That's nothing that ARP has said. That is coming from guys I've read online about, but you know how those forums work. They're not always true. But anyways, nonetheless, even if it's not stronger than a 4-bolt main 350, it's still stronger than factory. And again, we're shooting for high power, high horsepower. So we're going for as strong as we can get. So ARP is going to be the way to go for those. And again, it's also one of those, you're in there, you've come this far, might as well go the rest of the way and get ARP. We're going to be running ARP bolts for the rest of it as well, but for now, this is all I need. We'll be running ARP head bolts or studs. I'm not 100% sure yet, but we'll definitely be running something ARP up top there. I'll probably go and buy one of their accessory bolt kits as well for everything. And really, I mean, that covers pretty much everything there is about it. We'll be running ARP all the way around. But with all that showed off, you guys have already seen the cylinder heads in other videos. You guys have seen the intake manifold. I need to prep this engine bay. It is a little bit of a mess. I might go ahead and look into getting the AC panel on there tonight and just see how far we can get with it and get it ready. That way, as soon as we get back from the machine shop, we can start plugging and playing. We got our headers here and everything. Headers are installed on the Camaro, as you guys saw in the last video. So a lot of stuff is out of the way, but since it has been so long since I've worked on this car, I do want to take a little bit and look around, make sure, get everything organized a little bit better out here, and just dive right into this. So I'll keep you guys posted as I go. You guys get a front row seat to watch me disassemble this and get it ready to go to the machine shop. The things that are coming off: water pump, timing cover, balancer. I'll send them with the balancer, but actually this balancer is the factory style one. It's not the factory one. It's a OEM replacement, but they're not getting this one. They're going to be getting the replacement one we have, so they're going to get that. Oil cooler needs to come off. We're going to take off this oil pump because we're not going to reuse it. Need to take off the engine mounts. Cam needs to come out once the timing cover's off, and then the rest of it, all the internals, I'm going to go ahead and let them disassemble those, just for the sake of them knowing, they're going to be the ones there for it. They can see everything that's there. Go and take off this fuel pump cover as well because they won't need that. But we need to take out oil pressure adapter. We need to take out our adjustable thingamabob. And then, yeah, so let me grab my impact, my sockets. If you were smart, you would have a magnetic tray with you. If you're like me and you're not smart, or you're just replacing everything, also like me, both of those things fit my description, then don't pay attention to where you set these bolts down at. A little bit of that. There we go. Okay. Then our timing pointer, we're going to need an Allen wrench for. Allen key. I can hear someone in the comments saying it now. If this wasn't going to the machine shop, I would be terrified of the rubber trunks that might be breaking loose down into the block. Is what's happened. This thing's made of rubber. It's an expandable freeze plug. And what happens is this is where the factory PCV, I guess, kind of oil system went. I'm trying to remember what the original setup was called from the factory. But if you run modern engines, modern builds, you don't use this. This would just pretty much, it came in through here, out through here, and most guys took it and they just let it dump on the road while they're driving. So that's out. That's disassembled. Water pump is off. Balancer needs to come off. This thingamabob needs to come off. We have a little thing right here that is from when I tried to install a different set of spark plug wires. That was a failed attempt, and I hated every bit of trying to install those. I was trying to install spark plug wires that go under the headers, so I had these special Moroso clamps. Man, those are an out-of-engine install, if they even work. I really couldn't even find anyone online that was running them. So there's a reason I didn't go with them. Well, here's my night. There's supposed to be a few more inches at the end of this pipe. We don't talk about that. Okay, I have an idea. You heard nothing. Huh. I thought it was bigger than that. So I thought there was a little bit more. I did say a few inches, and that's probably like a foot long, so no worries. We're still accurate. On to the next thing. You're probably thinking to yourself right now, why didn't you take the oil cooler off? Well, you were underneath the car. Or not under the car, while the motor is flipped upside down. Well, then you'd be asking yourself a logical question. We don't deal with logic around here. If you use ARP branded assembly lubricant, does it turn your bolts into ARP bolts? Isn't it the same thing? Okay, it's been, today's Saturday. It was like Thursday, Wednesday-ish. I can't remember at this point. The last time I was out here, and I realized at the end of the last footage, not only did my mic cut out, but I tilted the phone up to change the angle and forgot to change it back. But we got the cam pulled out. There's a few other things we did after it cut out, but nothing too crazy. But I just wanted to kind of show you guys the condition of the cam after a couple hundred miles. This is Summit Racing cam. That's oil right there, not like dents or anything. Overall, I mean, I know over camera it's going to be kind of hard to diagnose anything, but it's definitely safe to say, looking at this, that the cam was not the issue. It was not the point of failure. So don't have to worry about that. Still kind of a mystery, other than the rocker arm failure, what was causing the knock. It was nothing with those heads. I've donated those heads recently, in that motor we got running, and no issues whatsoever. So I definitely think it was something lower end. But anyways, I got a few other things I got to take apart, so let's jump to working on that. Okay, this is going to be take two almost, because you guys, oh, okay, pin is not stuck this time. That's probably because, again, the engine has been sitting for a whole bunch of time, so it's not sagging. I'm guessing is what's going to happen here is that since it was sitting upside down for so long, that it was sagged that way. Right now it's up and not turned over, but I believe everything on the top end here is taken care of. We'll leave the flex plate on there. They'll bake these gaskets off, so they're newish, so they're not too old. They're not, it came right off, so no worries there. Head gasket, that material they'll get taken off whenever they bake it. Everything will get cleaned up. I think that's everything from the top end, so I believe all that's left is oil pump. I need to take off, Well, no, that should probably actually be good to stay. So I just need to rotate it over. I'm trying to remember what all I did after the mistake with the mic last time, but look at that, first try. Okay. Oh boy. There we go. Probably should have done this with the motor upside down. Or not upside down, it's upside down now. It's pretty much empty anyway. No worries then. Okay, and then to take that off, we're going to need this again. Bump up with socket size. Look at that, man. We are on track. Hopefully this comes out pretty smoothly here. Yeah, there was a gasket there. So probably see if I can't find a new gasket or have to order in a new one of these. I think this is a Transdapt part. And I know Derailleur makes one. I mean, Transdapt is the same as Hedman headers and stuff, so it's not too big of a deal. And then I need to take off oil pump. If I remember right, that's going to be a is it 5/8? It's 11/16 that I grabbed. Look at that. Got lucky. I believe that is officially everything off the block that needs to come off. Cam is out. That's oil filter stuff is off. Oil cooler's off. Timing stuff is off. I do have my crank timing gear still on there, but that should be fine. Shouldn't be an issue. I don't see any reason that needs to come off really. Okay. So on to the engine bay, because some of the stuff I was working on last week, the audio got cut off. So over to the engine bay. Okay, so I showed you guys this, or I tried to show you guys this on my last time I was out here. But this is the AC delete panel that supposed to cover the heater, the AC box, the heater core, everything. And this is where we are at with it, is that it does in fact not fit. There's a huge gap. It just does not fit at all. So I got to do some looking to figure out, how to go about finding one that does fit, or if there's, something else you got to do. I'm actually looking at this and I'm wondering if this is supposed to go inside, because there's a flare here all the way around. So there's no way that could fit flat. But I mean, nonetheless, there's still, whether this had made for flared or not, that does not cover. There's a gap down here. It's kind of hard to show you guys on camera. I don't know if I can. Okay, let me rearrange and show you guys what this looks like. So none of the bolt holes line up, but as you can see, even if there was a bolt hole right there, that flared lip right there is just even with it. You can see through it right there, and then down here at the bottom, we have a gap. And you can rearrange this. You can push it down further, but then you end up with a gap there. Over there in that corner, everything looks to cover up at least. I can't really tell if the bolt holes line up or not. But don't worry, there's no actual... That happened. There's no actual thing there. That was just propped up there. Didn't want you guys to think it was grounded there or anything like that. But yeah, so that's what we got to figure out next. So we talked about tubular control arms in one of the last videos I did on the Nova. We are going to run tubular control arms. I changed up my mind. I can't remember what brand I said I was going to run, but we're going to go with BMR. We do BMR upper and lower control arms. We're going to do some, I think, Calvert 9010 racing shocks. Shout out to Kyle for the recommendation. We're going to be doing, Kyle sent over some Pro Forged outer tie rods. So we're going to run those. He also sent over the connector for him. So we're also ordering some inner Pro Forged tie rods. We're going to order a new sway bar. Pretty much, he also said they have a good idler arm set up and everything. So we're going to run that. We're going to get all this redone up here. Probably powder coat my spindles, get them powder coated. We have some new, some tight clearance, or I don't know the correct. We got some really good wheel bearings coming in. They're actually here already. They're just inside the house. So everything on the front end is going to be super efficient, lightweight. look really nice. I mean, these ones are somewhat new, but they're just covered in grease. So we're going to get some stuff powder coated, reuse it, clean it up, make it look all nice, and then but what we don't reuse, we'll replace. Just again, making everything as efficient as possible. Probably in years past, I did do body bushings, but we'll probably go ahead and redo those again because I want to make them like I ended up spray painting these on accident, and so you can't even tell that they're polyurethane. Like, want everything to look good. Yeah, this firewall needs redone in a really bad way. Everything just needs redone. Rewiring. We'll probably wait till the engine is back in here and just do some mock-ups with the wiring and everything. Find some better routing spots for it all. Stuff like that, because right now I could redo it, but I wouldn't know exactly the correct routing that I need to go with it all. So we're almost at a standstill until we get the engine back, or until some of the suspension parts start to show up. Trying to think what else, but at least I'll probably take the windshield wiper motor, which is this thing right here. I'll probably take it off, probably keep it, put it back on, of course, but go ahead and take it off so I can clean everything up, because this is just really bad. I want everything to be smooth, look nice. I do have the paint picked out for everything. Got to get that ordered in as well. You guys, I'll do kind of a reveal when the suspension parts come in and show you guys all that sort of stuff. But let me do a recap inside my head, and then I'll update you guys whenever I figure out what's next. Okay, so we're actually going to take a book from Roadkill here, or a page from Roadkill, book from Roadkill. I think chapter, I don't know. And we're going to mark out everything we have to do on some cardboard. Luckily, I have a narrow piece of cardboard, and I didn't have to cut this out. So I got lucky. Okay, so we need to, let's do this. AC panel. And we have a nice pink Sharpie that I don't know why I have, but I have it. It's the only one I could find. Control arms. Control arms, shocks, powder coat, okay, powder coat, we're going to put powder coat there, but I'm going to put a question mark because I need to figure out what all I'm going to send off to get powder coated, because there won't be too much. What else? We need to redo wiring. We'll put machine shop on here. It's going on Monday, but we're going to put machine shop so that way I have something to cross off. We need to order in engine bolts for like heads, stuff like that. Engine bolts. Paint. I believe I already have paint for the engine bay. It's engine paint I need to order in, but we'll keep this on the list so that way I have it nonetheless. Firewall. Firewall / sanding. Okay. So we got AC panel, control arms, shocks, tie rods. Typically, I like to have all this in order, but that's not going to happen because I already screwed that up. Tie rods, sway bar. Is what I'm going to do. Our method here, we'll write this down. Check. A check means it's ordered. And a line equals installed. You can spell. Okay, so let's see. We've ordered. Let's see. We've ordered the wiring, and it's actually here. Machine shop, engine bolts, paint, firewalls, tie rods, sway bar. Okay. Wiring is on there. We have everything we need for wiring. We need to do oil pressure gauge. Even if I don't go electrical, I need to either get a new, they're one-time use like crush fittings. I can't think of the word. So either which way, I got to have that on there so that way I know to replace that fitting. What else? We're not doing anything brakes because it's got brand new drilled and started rotors in the front. Paint. Okay, we're going to, just because it's more than just that. We had firewall slash sanding. Scribbled out sanding, we're just going to make it its own thing because I need to do more than just sand the firewall. I need to do a lot of stuff. I want to order in some Pour 15 for the front subframe. I say front as if there's a rear subframe. For the subframe. So I need to get that. I really think that's about it of what all we have left here. I think that's a pretty good list. So pretty much we're literally everything from the firewall forward. Oh, body bushings. I want to redo those. I know the rear suspension's all good. So yeah, okay. So we got literally everything from the front firewall forward except for the body bushings because that's going to be there's two of our behind the firewall. So not a big deal at all. Oh, idler arm. Okay. Guys, I think that's everything. So AC, so we got AC panel, control arm, shocks, powder coating. We need to figure out what all we're going to send off, which requires us to tear stuff apart. Wiring we have here. We have all sorts of stuff. I showed you guys that in a video. We have everything we need for wiring. Literally anything you could imagine we have for wiring now. Oh, I want to order in, for the sake of, I need to order in a rivnet gun for the AC panel. Okay. So we got wiring, machine shops, that happens on Monday. Engine bolts, we need to order in like I have all the original bolts that I was using, but again, I want everything to be matching. That way I know everything is like the correct ones. Header bolts, head bolts, intake bolts, all that stuff. We need to get those ordered in. We'll go ARP for those as well. Paint, we need to figure out, I know what color I want to run. I just need to order it. The firewall, I need to get it cleaned up and painted. Tie rods, all the suspension stuff I'll order at the same time. Oil pressure gauge, I'll research, see what I can't find. I need to do sanding. After I do the sanding, clean everything up, I got to do the Pour 15 for the subframe, body bushings, idler arm, and rivnet gun. So I think that's, the rivnet gun is going to allow me on the holes that are there on the firewall to install rib nuts, or if I need to drill new holes, I can do that. And install their threaded rivets, basically, so you can bolt stuff up that way. Okay, so I feel like that's a pretty good list. So I'm going to do a little bit more brainstorming here to make sure that's everything, and I will let you guys know if I think of anything else. All right, so let's go over this list one more time. I added a few other things. Running through this super quick. AC panel, control arms, shocks, figure out what needs to go to powder coating. We need to rewire the car. We have everything here we need for it. We just need to rewire it, but that's got to wait on the engine to be in there. Go to the machine shop, happens on Monday. Order in the top end bolts that we need for the engine, intake manifold, headers, heads, stuff like that. I need to double check that I have paint for the firewall, and I know if I don't have it, I'll order it at the same time I order in the engine paint. I already got that picked out, just need to order it. I need to redo the firewall. I need to get sandpaper for that. Tie rods, we need to order those in. Sway bar. By the way, just in case you guys missed it, all these suspension parts will be ordered in at the same time. So there's not going to be a huge gap between ordering them in. Sway bar, oil pressure gauge, either reuse this one or order in a new one. But either which way, we got to replace the feed line. We need to do the sanding. That includes the front subframe, firewall, all of it. We'll do all of it in one go. Order in Pour 15 to go over the front subframe. Body bushings, we need to get those ordered, redo those. Idler arm, riv nut gun for the AC panel. We need a fuel pump. This one is newer. It's only got 2,000-3,000 miles on it or so, give or take. But we're this far in, I don't want to reuse a part and that end up biting me in the butt. It's less than $50 to get a really good one. So we need to get that done. Oil pump. I'll probably go with the Melling high volume oil pump. I'll look at the specs of them. May not need high volume. We'll look into it and see. Cam and valve train. I need to talk to comp cams about those things. These heads only have a max lift of like 580, and that's just not good. I want to be in the 650 area. So I need to get a cam that's up to that, and a valve train. I'd like the valve train to at least be able to handle 750-ish in case I decide to go bigger in the future. But if not, I just want to know that I have extra room just for safety and not pushing everything at its max limits. And gaskets. We need to order an engine gaskets, but I need to wait and talk to the machine shop after they do their work on it, figure out what head gasket I need to run. But that's really about it. All of this is really dependent on next steps. There's other... I don't want to start tearing the engine bay apart quite yet, including suspension and all that stuff, until I have the parts here. That way, as I take them off, I can put them back on, and I don't have to worry about leaving parts everywhere. But once I take them off, I'll sand everything down. Like right now, it's really hard to get in there with the sander, but once the suspension's apart, I can get in there with a sander pretty well, or a wire brush, whatever I see fit, and get in there and get that cleaned up. So yeah, we got, one step at a time. This week's progress was getting the engine ready, kind of taking a look at the engine bay, figuring out what all we need to do, and we did that. We moved some stuff out of the way, kind of just got a good look and good game plan in my head of what I'm doing. So as these parts come in, I'll show you guys an unboxing, tell you why I ordered each part, specifically why I ordered that part, because I'm gonna do a lot of research into ordering each one of these parts. So I'll tell you guys why I went with them. That way you guys can learn along the way with me. But other than that, stay tuned, and I will keep you guys posted. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will catch you guys later.